you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Vision. So, I have another pick of cards for you. We're going to use tarot and oracle cards as always. And today I wanted to take a look at a message from your higher self. We haven't done a higher self specific reading in a while, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity. I felt called to do it. So we're going to take a look at where your energy is right now. We're going to look at 3 messages from your higher self, and we'll take a look at any advice that they may have for you. I've gone ahead and just picked random cards. None of these are in the actual reading. This is just from like the leftover pile of cards, but these are the first 3 major arcana that came out, so they may have to do with your reading, they may not, I don't know, I haven't looked at the cards yet, but let's look at them anyway. For pile 1, we have the Hermit. For pile 2, we have the Fool. And for pile number 3, we have the Magician. So, as always, I'll give you guys some time to sit with these cards. That was a very loud horn. There's like stuff all over my table. But yeah, I'll let you guys sit with these cards for a bit and go ahead and pick whichever one calls to you intuitively. Timestamps are, as always, in the video description below. If this video resonates for you, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonates. And you can share this video with someone you might find this helpful. And yeah, without much further ado, I'll see you at your reading. Pile number 1, hello. So if you guys chose the Hermit card, then this is your reading. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to do with your reading, but I will keep it on the side, so in case it becomes relevant, we'll know. But today we're taking a look at a message from your higher self. So we'll start with an energy check over here, and this will tell us if this is your pile, like if this resonates, then you're in the right place. Then we'll look at 3 separate messages that your higher self has, and then finally we'll look at some advice they have for you with the oracle cards here. It's going to be a pretty simple spread. I'm very excited. Before I dive in, I should say that when I was shuffling your cards, I was really itchy. Like my skin, like my hands just started to get really itchy. So I don't know if you guys are dealing with like, I don't know, eczema or something that might have come up. But also a lot of your cards tried to, when I was shuffling them, they like wanted to come out face up, which I don't necessarily love because I don't like spoilers. I don't think anyone likes spoilers, but that to me felt like this is a message you already know, but you're for whatever reason ignoring maybe, or you're not sure and you're here for confirmation. So I don't know. That's just what came through when I was shuffling your cards out. So what energy are you coming to this reading with? To start, we have the Champion of Wands or the Knight of Wands. And that is clarified by the Knight of Cups. Okay. And your archetype card is, hang on, let me just make sure they're in the right places, these cards. Okay, your archetype is the Mentor in reverse. Part 1, have you been feeling quite restless lately? Well, I mean, that would explain like the itchiness. Like it didn't feel like just a surface level itch, but it kind of felt like I was itching to get moving. With the Champion or the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups, these both have horses, which makes sense. But there's also like birds as well, which is interesting. The Knight of Wands is about chasing what you're passionate about, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. And the Knight of Cups is chasing what you're emotionally drawn to, whether it makes sense or not. Now, these are not the pages, so it's not like in a mature sense of chasing something. It's definitely a little more well-informed than just complete tomfoolery, but it feels like you're at a stage in your life where you're just rearing to go, you're ready for forward movement, and it is something to do with your passion, your emotional drive. With a mentor in reverse, it almost feels like you don't even really want to listen to people's advice regarding this. But we will read that from the book, because the guidebook with this one is really cool. Okay, so this is card number 6. So that could be a number you're seeing a lot. Okay, the teacher, the sage, the guru. It is said that cosmic knowledge pours down on the world like a great illuminated waterfall. This can be an overwhelming force. The true teacher, though, is said to be able to hold this flow of wisdom at bay while the student sips from a focused stream. Anytime the mentor forgets the humble link between service of the greater cosmic good and the elevation of consciousness, anytime the mentor forgets this humble link and mistakes themselves for the source of enlightenment, the archetype falls into shadow. And because this is in reverse, self-serving, envious of youth, righteous, rigid. Okay, you might be in an energy right now where you want to throw caution to the wind and just chase after what you have your heart set on. But it's almost like the people that are cautioning you to be careful, you kind of see them as obstacles in your path. It's like you don't really want to take their advice. You don't want to slow down because it just feels so good to go after something. And this might be passion that's come after several years of feeling quite dejected, quite lost and depressed even. So it's like you don't want to temper yourself, is the feeling I'm getting. So I don't know what that is about, but if that's where you're at right now, let's dive in. So what's your first piece of advice from your higher self? We have the 3 of Cups in reverse, and that's clarified by the Hanged Man. Okay. The 3 of Cups in reverse and the Hanged Man. The 3 of Cups upright is the energy of celebration, of sharing good news, of partying and spending quality time with the people you love and just going out, To have that in reverse clarified by the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is about a new perspective, forcing yourself to see things through a new lens. I'm stumbling on my words so much today, you guys. But with both of these, it almost feels like, okay, there's 2 ways this could go. One is that reconsider the people that you surround yourself with, because if they haven't been where you are trying to go, then their advice that's slowing you down may not be advice at all. But if they have been where you are trying to go and they're speaking from experience, maybe you want to reconsider your course of action. So let me give you an example. You've decided to just completely change your field of work, okay? And you're surrounded by people who have only ever worked one job their whole life, and they're telling you about how dangerous it is, how scary it is. And it's like, you don't necessarily have the qualifications to give me that advice. You don't have the experience to give me that advice. So respectfully, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I don't think we are energetically compatible. So that's one way of looking at it. But if you are surrounded by people who have done this before and who have successfully done this before, or unsuccessfully, but they've at least attempted it, you might want to reconsider what you call obstacles or haters, right? Because if they are speaking from personal experience, there might be some wisdom to be had there, and you might want to look at their words through a new lens, in a new way. Because the 3 of Cups is usually about community, and in either case, whoever you're surrounded with there is a sort of lack of that community feeling going on. And I'm hearing you don't really want to go this route alone. So if it's the first case where you're surrounded by naysayers who have no faith in you and who also don't have any experience doing what you're doing, I would go out and find a different community to talk to about these things. If it's the second, where they do know what they're talking about, but you almost don't want to listen to them out of a feeling of, what if this kills my momentum? I would say reconsider whether you are ready to be part of their community, because theirs is the community that you want to end up in. But if you're not willing to take their advice, you're never going to get there. And that sounds really, really harsh, I know. And I apologize if that's hurting your feelings, but I'm not here to lie to you and tell you everything is fine and that you should cut out every single person who disagrees with you. That's not who I am. So the honest truth is, ask yourself why you are looking at all of this advice, regardless of, whether the people fall into group 1 or group 2. Ask yourself why this advice is bothering you. Is there an underlying fear, actually, of, if I slow down now, I'll never get to my destination? Maybe that's driving your separation from this communal feeling. Maybe that's driving your isolation. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's why the Hermit card came out for you. I knew this would become relevant eventually. Because maybe you're sort of forcing yourself into isolation because you're afraid that if you slow down, even just for half a second, even just to catch your breath, that it might ruin all the progress you've made so far. And I don't think that's true at all, because the Hanged Man, that's the Aquarius card. That's the card of innovation, of eccentricity, and of looking at things from a new perspective. And there's a lot more to your situation than your fear is telling you. And it could also be that the reason you're feeling so antsy, so itchy and irritated, it could be that you're approaching burnout very quickly. And so maybe the people telling you to slow down are not saying that because they want to dampen your spirits, but because they see you being burnt out, being tired, being worn out. And so perhaps it's just from a place of love and care, and maybe that's the new perspective you need on this situation. All right, lots of tough love coming in already. For your second piece of advice from your higher self, we have the 8 of Swords in reverse. And that's clarified by, that is the clarifier card. I read them in reverse, okay. The 8 of Wands. Okay, I'm just going to keep them that way just because that's kind of how they came out, but mental note, I need to read them the other way around. Okay, the 8 of Swords in reverse, clarified by the 8 of Wands. Okay, so the 8 of Swords is about protecting yourself, but not necessarily in a good, logical, sensible way. The 8 of Swords is about putting yourself into a cage, not to keep yourself. The intention isn't to keep yourself trapped. The intention is to keep the world out. But in doing so, you are entrapping yourself. So to have that in reverse, clarified by the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is the energy of fast movement, of progress, really, really quick, right? So both of these together tell me that if you feel stuck, if you feel like no matter how hard you push, you're not able to make progress as fast as you want to, even though your mind is going a mile a minute, it feels like you're still stuck, and it feels like no matter how hard you work, you're just not getting anywhere. It could be that you've done this sort of thing where you built a cage around yourself to keep people out, But in doing so, you've trapped yourself in. Now, that could be like with this first situation, where you considered everyone's advice to slow down as being unhelpful, as being unproductive for you, and so you've kind of kept them at an arm's length. But it could also just be in general. You might be the kind of person who prefers solitude, who prefers to do your own thing, who prefers to just dance to the beat of your own drum. And while that is great, it can also be a different variation of hyper independence, which, if it is, hello, fellow hyper independence girly here. It's a tough ride, okay? But the advice here is to try and come out of that cage, to come out of that defense, and you'll see that things just progress so much quicker, so naturally. Again, there's more birds here. Are you seeing a lot of birds, like specific birds? We have owls, eagles, and I think these are geese. But do you see the difference between like feeling trapped here and these birds flying so freely? It's like, in order to give yourself freedom, you have to give yourself freedom, right? If you're seeking progress, you have to get out of your own way. And it really feels like your journey that you are trying to embark on right now, you're not meant to do it alone. And even though you may be surrounded right now by people who don't support it, that doesn't mean that no one in the world will understand or support you. But in order to bring them in, you kind of have to be open. You have to be open to people who will actually be helpful to you, actually be instrumental in getting you where you want to be. But you cannot figure that out if you don't allow anyone in, because you made assumptions about everyone in your future being the same as everyone in your past. The world is so big, and I know that we get caught in the echo chamber, like online or just outside, of people who repeat the same rhetoric over and over again. But those are just the loud voices, right? They're not the majority of the voices. They're just louder than the others. But there are so many people out there. There's literally billions of people out there. And surely a couple of them might get where you're planning to go and might have the resources to help you. So it almost feels like you're painting everyone with the same brush, and that's slowing you down, because again, I feel like yours is not a journey that's meant to be walked alone. It's almost giving okay, so in Lord of the Rings, you know how Frodo says he kind of goes through this journey assuming that he's the only one who should be burdened with this, and no one else should be inconvenienced because of the One Ring, because it's his responsibility to do it, to put it in Mount Doom. And then along the way, he learns that, there's Samwise, there's Aragorn, there's Boromir, there's Arwen, there's, Gandalf, Gimli. There's so many people who come together for this common cause. And it's not because they have any special affection for him. They grow to eventually, but they don't start off because they feel bad for him or they feel like they want to do something nice for him or whatever. They do it because they are called to, because it's part of their purpose to help him get there. And I feel like it's the same thing here, where you're at the beginning of this journey thinking, I'm going to have to do every single thing, and no one else should be inconvenienced by my journey, or no one else should have to be part of it or have to go out of their way. And it's like, not only are you denying yourself a much more efficient route to your destination, you are also denying everyone else the opportunity to be part of this growth and evolution. So your second piece of advice from your higher self is definitely to get out there and go out with an open mind. And if people turn out to be the same as you're used to, you know to avoid them. But if they don't, you'll have learned something new, right, about people. And your third piece of advice for today is the Four of Swords. Didn't I say you're burning out? Okay. The Four of Swords clarified by the Two of Cups in reverse. Okay. Why is the Two of Cups in reverse? The Four of Swords is about rest. It's about being so in so much pain that you can't help but take a break. Because it comes after Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords is about heartbreak, right? So what happens when you're heartbroken is your body forces you to rest, to get lethargic, to get tired all the time. And that's because your body needs to recover from the emotional drain of it. And that's clarified by the Two of Cups in reverse. Now, the Two of Cups upright is about relationships. It's about love. It's about soulmates. It's about the perfect match. And I think, I think this is cautioning you against the belief that a pause is a full stop, right? So you might be someone who thinks, oh, if I stop and rest now, I will never get back up. I'll never get momentum again. It's like the life alert ladies, like, I fall and I can't get up again. And I think your higher self is coming in to say that that's not how resting works, right? It's not that, oh, I am either meant for this journey and I will never feel tired because I'm driven by passion and excitement. Or if I feel even a little bit tired, I guess it was never meant to be. If I feel even a little inconvenienced or a little lost or a little pain, then I was never meant to do this. And I think your higher self is coming in to say, like, that's not that's not how anything works. Okay? It is always about baby steps. It's always about progress, not perfection. So I think your third piece of advice is definitely cautioning you against using the idea of momentum as an excuse to sort of mask your perfectionism. I think you might be the kind of person who expects so much of yourself and nothing of everyone else. And it's definitely time to try and figure out that balance, because the Two of Cups in reverse can also talk about unbalanced relationships, but it doesn't feel like someone forcefully unbalancing it for you. It almost feels like this is how you see relationships, where you consider yourself the only active party in your connections and you cannot ask anything of anyone else. It's like in every connection in your life, doesn't have to be romantic, just every connection in your life, you assume the other person is just a plastic bag, right? They don't do anything and you can't expect anything of them, and therefore you must do everything by yourself. And that's simply not true. You are allowed to relax and let someone else pick up the slack for a change. It's okay. I feel like all three of these surround this one theme of you constantly being go, 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 when everything around you is telling you to calm down, slow down, chill out. You're not losing any progress. You are not moving backwards if you pause for a second. It's okay. You need rest. You need to come out of your shell, and you need to look at things through a new perspective. And that's how you get progress. That's how you build community. And that's how you find happiness in what you're chasing without feeling so drained all the time. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water and then we'll dive into the oracle cards. Been so dehydrated lately. Anyway, so finally, let's take a look at some advice from your higher self. The first card is Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So this might be a pattern that you've been working through for pretty much this entire lifetime, where you overextend yourself, you don't listen to people when they tell you to rest and chill out for a second, and you just go, 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 and then you're exhausted, and then you convince yourself because you hit burnout that this was never meant for you, and then the cycle repeats itself. But let's read this from the guidebook. This is page 108. Okay. It is time to release old soul stories that have been playing out in your life. They are coming up to be healed. There has never been a safer time to clear these patterns than right now. Take a look at patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiry date. It could be a vow of silence, or chastity, or poverty. It is time to unwind from them. This is the life in which you free yourself from trauma of lives past. It is time to unbind from the old ways of being that are no longer sustainable. Work your light activation. I release all old soul stories, vows, contracts, and patterns that are no longer aligned with who I came here to be in the present time. I carry the lessons, growth, and gifts, but I no longer choose to live the same story. May I be unbound, forever unbound. So it's definitely, and that again for me echoes this sentiment of, it's almost like, generally this talks about unbinding yourself from karmic connections that you may have with other people or other situations. But here it almost feels like you're being asked to release an old paradigm, right? An older way of thinking, an older way of seeing yourself that has kept you trapped in this situation. Okay. And finally, let's take a look at an animal spirit card. We have the parrot spirit in reverse. Watch your words. Okay, so this is number 45. Are you aware of what you're saying to yourself and others? Parrot spirit shows up as a reminder to notice the words that flow from your mouth, your pen, and your keyboard. Be mindful of the beliefs you have internalized. Are they what you choose to believe? Are you communicating with integrity? Parrots represent the law of praise, so you are called to speak truth and speak with love. So, yeah, I think there's also a lot of work to be done on your self-talk, on how you speak to and about yourself, because I feel like that alone can change a lot for you, because that will go a long way towards this Eight of Swords in reverse energy, towards like breaking out of your shell. If you can see yourself as beautiful and worthy of connection, you will soon start to see the world around you respond. Okay? So that's your reading for today, part 1. Very, very interesting. Let me know in the comments how this resonated. And if you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe, because it really, really helps the channel out so, so much. Yeah, you can subscribe to my channel for more readings. And if you'd like to support my work, I have my PayPal tip jar linked in the video description. Or you can reach out to me via email for a private reading as well. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so, so much for sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly hope it helped. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 2. Hello. So if you guys picked the full card, then this is your reading. I'm just going to keep this guy over here. It may become relevant, it may not. I don't know. It was kind of relevant in part 1. So we'll see. But welcome. Today we're taking a look at 3 specific messages that your higher self has for you. We'll start with an energy check with these cards, and then we'll look at the 3 messages, and then finally we'll take a look at some advice from your higher self. I should say, when I was shuffling the cards, they felt very jumpy, and then I felt very jumpy. So if you're in a very anxious energy right now, then this reading might resonate for you, but let's just dive right in and see what energy you're coming into this reading with. So to start off, we have the Tower, okay. And that's clarified by the Four of Swords, okay. I'm just laughing because it's such a clear message. And for for your archetype card, we have the King. Very interesting, very medieval imagery going on here. We have the Tower, the Four of Swords in reverse, and the King. How to have you suddenly been thrown into a position of leadership of a sinking ship? Right? So say now you were made CEO just after a company has fallen apart, or you've been thrown into a parental role when your mental health is barely hanging on. In either case, it feels like something is falling apart in your life and you have no ability to like rest or recuperate from it, because you are expected to take the lead in this situation. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here, and that may be why I felt so frantic and anxious and jumpy, because that might be the energy you're in. For the King, I'm just going to quickly read through what the book says. So this is card number 12. Okay. The ruler, the commander, the emperor. If our lives are imagined as a kingdom containing the entire spectrum of human experience, the king presides over it all. Through the lens of the king, we assess the state of our land, make decisions, and rule accordingly. Therefore, the king must be thoroughly and regularly vetted so as to avoid corruption. Some think of the king as the ultimate expression of the ego, yet the great kings of mythology and history serve from an egoless place. They take their throne with grace and humility, knowing the divine uses them as a channel to heal deep and long-standing discrepancies in the kingdom. When light, benevolence, divine leadership, service, nobility. There's a sense of like inheritance here. It's like you've inherited some responsibility that you never really wanted, and now it's like you can't avoid it, but it's so exhausting, it's so taxing. Like say now you inherited a house from a relative, and on the surface everyone's like, oh, you're so lucky they left you a house, but you know that inside that house is like rotting furniture, and like the garden needs to be redone, and the walls need to be replastered, and there's so many cracks, there's water damage, there's fire damage, there's this and that. And it's like what everyone else might consider a privilege to you is just more work. It's just so much more work, right? So if that's a situation you're in, first of all, I'm so sorry. But second of all, welcome. So let's go ahead and take a look at 3 messages that your higher self has for you right now. To start, we have the Oracle, or the Queen of Pentacles, in reverse. Clarified by the... clarified by the Queen of Pentacles upright. Okay. So the Queen of Pentacles as an energy is about abundance, but a sort of emotional abundance, the abundance that comes from within, which then forces the world to meet her at her energy. Like she doesn't really care about if she was born into wealth or if she worked hard for it or whatever. She knows that she is wealthy, and therefore the world around her rearranges itself to make that true. And that's interesting. See, that's why I like using 2 separate decks, because stuff like this happens. So you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse and upright. And when she's in reverse, it feels like you don't really feel abundant from within. Okay. So you might be someone who is naturally quite abundant, quite powerful. You might be a master manifester. You might be someone who goes through life feeling successful, feeling in control, feeling like the world is your oyster. But then this situation has happened and it feels like it's thrown you for a spin. And now you're reconsidering whether you are as powerful as you thought you were. And your higher self is saying, yes, that has not changed. The world around you may have, gone sideways, but that doesn't change who you are. Oh my gosh, you are so rich, and not just in like a financial state, which you might be, but also in the sense of this intuitive abundance that you've cultivated over the years, this innate sense of stability, of success, of power. Like it's almost like you don't belong in this situation because you have so dramatically transcended stuff like this. And the irony is, if you just recognized how you have already transcended this type of stress, you would transcend it quicker. Right? How do I explain this, please? Okay, get a clarifier. All right. We'll get clarifier. Can we clarify the double queen of... Okay, thank you. 5 of Cups. And maybe this guy, the Hermit. And maybe this guy. The 5 of Coins. Okay, yeah. Both 5s are an indicator of change. The 5 of Coins feels like being abandoned, being left out in the cold, being lost, directionless. The 5 of Cups is about crying over the things you've lost, but not recognizing the things you have gained. And I think that's the key message here is, yes, it is a lot of work and it's a lot of responsibility, but you might need a reminder every now and then about what you have gained through shouldering this responsibility. And right now it doesn't feel like it because right now you're deep in the trenches, and that's okay. But you're being called to step outside of the situation so you can look at it with a little more clarity. If it takes like physical distance from the situation, do that. But in either case, it feels like you're not really seeing the truth of where you are, because it's almost like your vision of the situation is clouded by the adrenaline. Because look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, your trauma is a blessing or your pain is a blessing, because it feels awful, right? It feels horrible in the moment when you're that stressed. Like, I lived with lifelong anxiety. I know what that's like. I'm not going to sit here and tell you should be grateful for it. But what's happening here is I'm almost hearing like, oh, if you only knew how this turns out, you wouldn't be so worried. You wouldn't be so afraid if you only knew how this turns out. It's like you're not seeing the complete picture yet. And that's only because you're in the middle of it all. But if you take a moment to step away and regroup and reassess and re-strategize and remind yourself of who you are, of where your energy truly comes from, I think your higher self is guaranteeing that you will get through this unscathed. You might get through it a little bit evolved, a little bit scratched up, but it won't be anything too damaging because you are far more capable than you realize. And perhaps this is the situation through which you learn. It's almost like seal of approval. Like, do you see in this card, there's like a seal here? And that's kind of what kings did back in the day, I guess. They like put their stamp of approval on important documents. It feels like, yeah, whatever actions you've taken so far, I think your higher self is giving you like a big old seal of approval. Like, yes, you did the right thing so far, and you will continue to do the right thing because it's in you, because you know what to do, because you know what this is and who you are. You've just lost that sense of self because of everything going around, but it's fine. You'll find your way back. You'll be okay. In fact, you'll be far better than okay, because look at you. You're a double queen. Like, come on. Whether you identify as feminine or not, it doesn't matter. Anyone can be a queen. Okay. Next piece of advice, or the next message from your higher self, is the Hanged One or the Hanged Man. And that's clarified by the Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay, that's interesting. The Hanged One is about looking at things through a new perspective. And the Nine of Swords upright is usually about anxiety. In reverse is about releasing fears that were not yours to carry. I think, truthfully, the only way for you to get through this situation is through looking at it upside down, whatever that means to you. If say now, if we stick with the analogy of you inherited a house, but it's old and it's worn and it needs so much work. Yeah, agreed, it does. Look at it upside down. Now you get to basically build a dream house without having to pay for the land. Right? If it's got bad walls, you get to tear them all down and rebuild an entire structure, treat it like The Sims, and just build your castle on it. If I don't know what else this could apply to. Like, that's the only analogy that's coming to mind, but feel free to apply this to whatever you want. But the point is, the anxiety that you feel is making every single step of this process feel like a curse, feel like a problem, when in fact every single thing that you see as a roadblock is an opportunity, right? It may not be an opportunity you asked for, but it is an opportunity regardless. And if you kind of reframe that for your mind to see these things as opportunities, maybe that will help alleviate some of this anxiety, some of this fear. It's almost... So the Hanged Man came out in Part 1 as well, and it's interesting that I keep referencing Part 1 for you guys. There might be messages for you there. But yeah, with the Hanged Man or the Hanged One, it's like... It's the idea of doing something so radical and so new that no one has ever seen before. And especially it kind of feels like with your situation, every time something new crops up, every time something goes contrary to what you had planned, you can see that as, or you're being called to see that as a new opportunity to do things in a way that you've never done before. And that way you get to experiment. And because this is a situation you didn't necessarily create, you can do it without being judged too harshly, to be honest. So in that way, this feels almost like sandbox mode, where you get to experiment, but you don't necessarily get blamed if things go south because you never really asked for this. So like that's one way that you could reframe the situation, just even if it is just to yourself, so that your anxiety can get out of the way and you can do the things that you need to do. Does that make sense? So the third message from your higher self is the devil. I don't know why, I've been really loving the Devil card lately. And that's clarified by the Three of Wands. Okay. There is a karmic contract at play here, but when we think of the karmic world, like the karmic universe, the idea of, good begets good and bad begets bad, and, everyone has karmic cycles, blah, blah, blah. We often think of it as in a negative light. And I truly feel like this entire reading for you today is about looking at things differently. Because karma is not just negative, right? There's good karmic actions which bring you good karmic results. And with the Devil here, the cycle that you feel tied to, that you might see as a curse, is destined to bring you adventure, to bring you to new heights, to bring you places that you've never been before. And the situation you're going through right now is part of this cycle, is part of this experience that will bring you to new heights. With the Three of Wands here, the Three of Wands is about travel. It's about looking out into the world, about so much potential, about looking forward, right? And so for that to be clearing the card of the Devil is about karmic contracts, about things that you have to do, whether you like it or not. It is that Saturn Capricorn energy of hard work. It's asking you to reframe the idea of reward and punishment, because you might be seeing what you're going through right now and saying, oh, why am I being punished? But it's like, you're not. You are simply being thrown into a situation, and you have the opportunity to look at it as punishment, or to look at it as a way to experiment and grow and evolve and become the person who then gets to move on to the next level, who then gets to work your way upwards, go out into the world, because now you're equipped with all the knowledge and experience that would have brought you there. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know, lately, for me personally, this Devil card has been very attractive. And I don't know why. But I know it has some like dark and sinful connotations, I know. But it's just, to me, it feels like we're all misunderstanding this karmic loop, because it doesn't always have to be about bad things and punishments and difficulties and darkness and all of that. It can also be about people coming together to do good in this world. It can be about people repaying acts of kindness or paying them forward and creating a global scale karmic loop, right? But anyway, that's a whole other topic. But I feel like you guys have calmed down, which is great, because I feel a lot calmer now. But yeah, with these two cards here, it feels like whatever the situation is, when you are through to the other side of it, you will have grown into a person who can no longer settle for where you are. You might be someone who has lived a very routine life, like every day is just like the day before and like the day after, and you might break out of that due to this situation, due to this tower moment, and soon you will become the kind of person who can no longer stay here. There's lots of like towers, lots of castles and kings and stuff like that. It definitely feels like a fairy tale. I'm getting Rapunzel, trapped in a tower, that kind of thing. And like suddenly the tower collapses and now, whoa, But it's definitely a bit of an ego death going on. And that's not to call you egotistical, but that's saying everything that you tied your identity to in the past is being taken away so that you can rebuild a new identity. And you could see only the loss there, or you could see the infinite potential there, because now you get to be whoever you want to be. It doesn't matter what anyone says or thinks. And maybe that's why this Fool energy was here as well, because the Fool card is the first card of the Major Arcana. It is about new beginnings. It's about setting off on an adventure where you don't even know if there is a road ahead. You're just going to step and see if it appears. And if not, you fall into the underground level and you become like Alice. Okay? So, yeah, I knew it would be relevant. It always is. Why do I doubt this? But yeah, those are your 3 messages. So finally, let's take a look at some advice from your higher self. First, we have protection, call back your power, cut the cords, soul retrieval. Soul retrieval might be something you've been thinking about a lot, probably because you feel so drained, and it might be worth looking into. But let's see. This is card 104. Protection. You're being called to protect your energy and call back your power. Yes, call back your power. May all the lost pieces return home now. Take a look at who and what drains your energy. Do not keep your tabs open. Shut down energetically every night. Energetic cords are formed between people, places, objects, and events, so it's important to keep checking in. Your energy and energetic space are sacred, so treat them as such. Can you think of a traumatic event, relationship, or soul memory that you're being called to call back your power from? Check into your body now and see which chakra feels like it needs a bit of an energetic cleanup. Hold the card on the chakra or chakras that need cleaning and repeat the following. I call back any lost soul fragments, power, or light now. Any vows, soul contracts, hexes, or programs from the past or present, from this life or others, that are not in the highest good of all, I relinquish now. Any power or light that I have willingly or unwillingly given away or had taken from me, I call back now. Any cords or attachments from this life or others, I release now for the highest good of all. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Oh, that felt powerful. I feel like I just did a soul retrieval. But yeah, definitely protect your energy if you feel like it's being drawn all over the place. But also, I think remind yourself of who you are, because that's the really important part here. Because no matter what life throws at you, if you can stay centered in knowing that you are this Queen of Pentacles, you are this stable, solid force of abundance and power, no one can shake you. Finally, let's take a look at this animal spirit card. We have the Nightingale spirit. Love is all around. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so this is card 41. Okay, let's have a look. The Nightingale spirit. In the darkness of the night, Nightingale spirit sings her song of love and hope, a harbinger of dawn, to remind you that the sun will rise again soon. You are so loved, and the illumination song of the Nightingale spirit calls you to a new level of self-awareness and connection with the light. Yes, there is shadow and darkness, but love and prosperity exist everywhere, even in the seeming emptiness of space, darkness, and a starless night. Illumination will happen soon. Okay, so whatever the situation is, it is only temporary, and it's about to be dawn again, and before you know it, you'll be through it. And again, I'm hearing that if you only knew how this ends, like, you wouldn't even be afraid right now. But it is completely valid to be afraid because you don't know how this ends, and that's okay. But in either case, look at this as sandbox mode. This is an opportunity for you to try things in a way you've never tried them before. And that way you get to discover what works and what doesn't. And that's great, right? And it's not like you're losing too much. Maybe you're losing comfort for a little bit, but that's okay because you get to discover who you are in this situation. So that's your reading for today, pile number 2. I truly, truly hope it helped. If it did, please do remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonated for you. And, if you'd like some words of encouragement, comment below. I'm sure everyone would be happy to provide them for you. If you like what I do and would like to support me, you can always check out my PayPal tip jar, or you can email me for a private reading of your own. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly, truly hope it helped. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 3, hello. So if you guys picked the Magician card, then welcome to your reading. I'm going to keep this guy over here. It may be relevant to your reading, it may not. Chances are it will, because the last 2 were, but welcome. Today we're taking a look at messages from your higher self, specifically 3 messages from your higher self. We'll start, as always, with an energy check here, look at the 3 messages, and then finally look at some advice. Before we dive in, while I was shuffling your cards, I felt like a chaotic energy, but good. It almost felt like the chaos of starting something new where you don't know how it's about to pan out, but you're enjoying yourself. And I also got the image of like something being raw around the edges, kind of like when you chop up a pair of jeans and the hem is like frayed, where it's like it needs a little more finishing, it needs a stitch around the bottom, but it's not quite there yet, you've just chopped it up. Like that kind of feeling where something has just started, it's still rough around the edges, it needs a little more work, but you're so excited that you get started. So, I don't know, that might be confirmation for some of you guys. But, okay, spoilers. I told you this felt chaotic. But what energy are you coming into this reading with? To start, we have the 5 of Wands in reverse. And the 5 of Wands in reverse. That's crazy. Okay. And your archetype is the kiss. Oh, okay. This is love. Oh, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic love, but the energy that you're in is one of love, where there is no conflict. There is practically nothing wrong in your situation. You're just so excited. And it could very well be the first time in your life even that everything feels right. Everything is in its place. Everything is going exactly the way you want it to. And it just feels good. And I think the chaos is, and that rough around the edges feeling is because you've never experienced this before. And you're like, whoa, this is just brand new for me. I don't know what I'm doing in this situation, but I know I like it. Right? Because the 5 of Wands upright talks about conflict, but in both of these decks, it almost feels like a friendly fight, like it's not even that serious. We're just play fighting. So, but both of them are in reverse as well. So it's like, there isn't even like that aspect of play fighting. Everything is just so smooth sailing right now. And it's like you're feeling so much love that you haven't felt before. And it almost feels like not just romantic love or, love from a specific person, but it feels kind of like global love, like conscious love, like collective consciousness. Like you feel at one with the world right now. And that's so beautiful. This is a number 60. So let's see. The kiss. Okay. Before a first kiss, the air is electrified. Each breath is alive with possibility and magic. The archetypal energy of the kiss is a heightened sensation of merging with other, of letting in what was moments ago separate, to become one. It is risky but beautiful business. When the kiss takes a non-human form, it may be experienced as touching the sacred, hearing a whisper, or being graced by a divine being. You'll recognize the presence of the kiss by cold chills and an awakening of the heart. Sensual expressiveness, merging, inviting. An awakening of the heart, that's what it feels like. It almost feels like up until this point, your heart may have been closed off or cold or blocked, and suddenly it's arrived. It's like it's awoken, it's available now. You don't even have to be surrounded by a lot of people you love. You might be, but it's not even about that. Like, I'm really not getting the feeling of it being about other people. It just feels like you. It's like a level of love. It's not even just love towards yourself, which I suspect you do feel in order to be feeling this, but it feels like a sort of unity with the primordial force of love itself. Right? It feels like you're connected to the source. Oh, it's so intense, Pal 3. It feels like I'm swimming in like a stormy sea, but I know that I'm okay. And so I'm just enjoying the movement of it all. Oh my God, this is so powerful. Okay, Pal 3, if that resonated, hello, what did you do? How did you get here? Okay, so your first message from your higher self is the Lovers. Okay. And that's clarified by Judgment in reverse. Interesting. So the Judgment upright is usually about it's about sort of that moment where your good and bad are weighed up against each other, so that biblically it's like Judgment Day, right? You get told if you're going to heaven or hell or whatever. But it is often a sort of, it's a symbol of hearing the calling of your life. Right? It's like you're being awoken to your life's purpose. That's the feeling. But with the Lovers and Judgment in reverse, it feels like your higher self is confirming to you that your understanding, you might have gone from feeling like your life had a purpose in terms of like a career path that you're supposed to take, or a kind of service you're supposed to offer society. And now something has changed, something has happened, and now you're recognizing the true purpose of your existence is simply to bathe in this sensation of love. Right? It feels like you've gone from someone who wanted so desperately to be productive, no matter what the cost, to someone who prioritizes happiness, who prioritizes what really matters. It's like a sort of appreciation for physical reality, but also like a healthy separation from it. I don't think you look down on the 3D world. I don't think you call yourself like anti-materialism or whatever. But I also think you recognize that none of that equals happiness. And if a material goal doesn't bring you happiness, it's not a goal for you anymore. It's not worth chasing for you anymore. So in that sense, like your understanding of a calling or a divine plan has completely turned on its head, because you now recognize that what is meant for you will make you feel the way you feel right now. And nothing else will ever ever be allowed into your aura, even, I'm hearing. It's like nothing else, nothing that doesn't match this vibration will ever cross your path again, because you no longer resonate with anything else. I don't like to think of any state of being as permanent, but I do like to think of growth as being permanent. And it feels like you have grown and evolved to this stage, having been through a lot. It feels like you've been through so many transformations to get to this very simple moment of recognition, of realizing that, oh, I didn't even have to do anything crazy. Like, I wasn't put here to work a 9 to 5 and build my way up the corporate ladder. I wasn't put here to, start a rescue farm and save every single wounded animal that comes my way. If I can do it, that's great, but I don't have to feel guilty about the things that I cannot do. And instead focus on the fact that the things that I do spend my time on are truly valuable to me and therefore to the universe. Right? Anything that truly sparks joy, you will engage in, but beyond that, you're starting to recognize that if it doesn't make your soul sing, it doesn't deserve to be around you all the time. Now, that's not to say life is going to be perfect at all times, but those are little things. With the big things, you will no longer accept less than what you are worth. That's what it is. It is a recognition of your worth. It's a recognition of what you deserve in your highest frequency, in your highest version. Oh my God. It's like, I wish I could explain to you how this feels, but at the same time, I know you know how this feels. I don't like not having the words for it, because I'm like a word of affirmation person, and like it really bothers me when I can't put something into words. But this feels like it's simultaneously so powerful and so simple. And it's almost like you're laughing at yourself for not recognizing this sooner, because it's such a simple feeling of joy. It doesn't come from anything complex. It doesn't come from anything intense or crazy or, dramatic. It is so simple. It's like returning to your truth. Oh, it's so powerful, pal 3. I'm so happy for you. Okay, your second message from your higher self is the 9 of Wands. And that's clarified by the Ace of Cups. Okay. Anything that you didn't feel capable of in the past, this new level of emotional maturity, emotional growth and evolution will have you reconsidering those situations. Like, say now in the past, you wanted to climb Mount Everest, right? And there were so many fears holding you back and so many things that could go wrong that you were focusing on, and you no longer wanted to risk it, even though you knew it would make you so, so happy. You didn't do it. Now, with this Ace of Cups, with this newfound emotional being, this emotional state, you're being asked to reconsider all of the things that you gave up. Maybe you can climb the mountain, and maybe it is worth investing the time and the effort and the money to figure out a way to do it, because it would have made you happy. And that's all that matters to you anymore. So this is a call to, I know that's not the traditional meaning of the 9 of Wands, but it's almost feeling like, I'm just straight up channeling at this point, but it feels like you're being called to go back to your past and look at all the dreams that you gave up on because you were too afraid of whether they would work out or not, or you felt like it was a frivolous expense, or it was pointless, or that it would never work out anyways, I'd be wasting my time. Now that you've reprioritized joy and love and laughter and excitement, go back and ask yourself, would that spark joy in me? And if it would, you have to Marie Kondo it. You have to Marie Kondo your entire life, dude. Like, would this spark joy? Yes, I'm gonna do it. If it wouldn't spark joy, I didn't lose anything, right? It's definitely a feeling of indulging your inner child. Yeah, it's a feeling of indulging your inner child and also your inner teenager. I feel like you guys might have had a bit of a rebellious teenage. Either like, it feels like either it was very rebellious and you went out of your way to do crazy stuff, or it was very repressed because you felt like you had to fit into a certain box. But in either case, you're being asked to indulge your inner teenager just as much as you would your inner child, because there's a sense of like you're being called to live a more whimsical life. And by whimsy, I don't mean like cotton candy, pink and purple, swirly life. I mean anything that your whim wants. I don't know if that's English. Anything that your whims fancy. You're being called to reconsider those things because that's your new responsibility now. Pile 3 is just to make yourself happy. So, message number 3. The sun. Yes, I love that. The sun, and that's clarified by death. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a lot. The sun clarified by death. The sun is optimism, it's joy, it's excitement, it's a summer's day. The birds are singing, the trees are, bouncing around in the wind. There's flowers everywhere. There's dogs barking at the clothes on the laundry line. I don't know, that's very specific, I know, but anyway. Whereas death is deep, dramatic transformation. You are no longer the person you were. You have completely ascended that state of being. That's what death is, right? It is transcending the human state of being and becoming a soul, I suppose. I mean, I guess no one really knows, but metaphorically, it is going from one state of being to another state of being. And for both of these to come here together, it's like, I think it's just reiterating how big a transformation you have just undergone, Pile 3, and it feels like you reached your tipping point, right? If you've ever read that book by Malcolm Gladwell, which I highly recommend, dude, The Tipping Point, anything by Malcolm Gladwell is brilliant, but The Tipping Point specifically talks about how a lot of businesses, right, they spend so many years doing such hard work, and then one day it's like, boom, suddenly they skyrocket and success hits them. And they don't understand how or why, but it's just that they reached that tipping point. And in the same way, your healing journey so far might have been long and arduous and exhausting, and you've been through transformation after transformation and all of that, and then you hit the tipping point and boom, now look at you. Now look where you are. Now look how you have reached a state of being where everything feels right. Everything feels the way it should. Because you finally found that inner smile, that inner joy, the inner happiness. And that's like, death is always a permanent transformation. It's never temporary, right? And so right now you're at the point where you have so far transcended this energy of being in conflict or being afraid or chasing goals that other people think you should have, even if they don't make you happy. You have so deeply transformed it at the grassroots level that you can never go back. You can never go back to that state of being. You can never see yourself in a situation where you're not prioritizing happiness. You can never do things just because you are expected to. And again, I'm not talking about like responsibilities, like please pay your taxes, please. But what I am talking about is this feeling of the goals that you set will only ever be set if it makes you happy to have them. And the second something stops feeling fun, the second something, it's the Alyssa Liu mindset, right? It's like the second something stops being fun, you're out. You're no longer interested. And that is a place of power. That is a place of so much power because no one else can ever take control of the situation with you. No one else can ever take control of your life. No one else can ever step on your toes like that. Because you decide what makes you happy. You decide what's worth pursuing. You put the power squarely back in your own hands. And that's a kind of boss energy that it's literally impossible to shake. That is that magician energy, right? Of making your own reality, of building the world around you exactly the way you want it to, because you have control over all four elements. I knew it would be relevant. Okay, so finally, it's so powerful, dude. Finally, let's take a look at some advice from your higher self. First, we have answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? See? That's all you even care about anymore. And that's wonderful. That's exactly how it should be. All you need to do is ask yourself, what am I being called to do right now? And just follow that without question. So this is on page 36. That could be your age. If it is, wow, you've been through too much at too young an age, but you are also very wise, well beyond your years. But anyway, answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? Your guidance is divinely guided. You are being called to answer the call of your soul. It might be scary, it might not make sense, but if you trust your soul's yearnings, you will live a life beyond what your mind could possibly imagine. Answering your soul's calling is not a one-time thing, rather a lifelong dance. Deep down, you already know what you long for, what your soul yearns for. Sometimes, the more resistance we have around answering a soul calling, the more important it is to our soul's growth. What is your soul calling you to do? That could be a great, honestly, I don't think it is for you anymore. I think that would have been something to think of at an earlier stage, is the idea of if I'm resisting something, it's because I need that most. But I don't know, human minds are changeable sometimes. And sometimes if you're having a rough day, you might feel some resistance to do the things that your soul's calling you to do. But in general, I think it is just about following your joy, following your love, your heart. Because especially with this Ace of Cups, there's really no, I don't even have to tell you anything. All I have to tell you is you're doing the right thing. Keep at it. That's literally it. Final piece of advice. We have the skunk spirit. Know your worth. That's wild. I love when these cards do the thing, dude. Know your worth, which you do now. How 3, I don't even... Anyway. Skunk spirit, what do you value? What do you believe in? Is your best, most authentic self on display? Skunk spirit comes as a reminder that you can be proud of who you are and what you have accomplished. Know your worth. Not everyone will agree with you or share your values, but you can walk with your head high, knowing that when you express your integrity, others can feel your authenticity and will be inspired by it. Be who you are, and if your reputation precedes you, good. You have much to be proud of, and Skunk Spirit wants you to be your best self, the true you. I mean, yeah, we know. Like, that's. Oh, I feel hyped, pile 3. I don't know about you. I feel like really hyped after this reading. Like, I feel like I want to go, like, dance or something. But you're in a very powerful place right now. And it is only going to get bigger and better from this point forward. So, wow, that is your reading for today. Wow. Oh my goodness. Let me know in the comments how this resonated, because I'm really curious to see how you got to this point. Okay, so let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and it resonated for you and it helped you, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel for more readings. If you'd like to support my work, I have a link to my PayPal tip jar, and you can also email me for a private reading. That's in my video description as well. But yeah, thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me read for you. Truly, like, this has put me in such a good mood for the rest of the night. But yeah, I hope it resonated. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.